Ah, spring's here down on the farm apparently. We're picking some wild garlic, absolutely exploding garlic up into my nostrils. Now wild garlic is one of my absolute favourite herbs to pick, especially in spring. When it's in full bloom, the smell just whacks you in the face and it smells so delicious, and there's so many great things you can do in the kitchen. But I'm going to show you my all-time favourite thing to do with wild garlic gnocchi. First step, blanch your wild garlic just until it wilts, so this will take no time at all. So it's just wilted, literally, how long was that in there for? About 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and that's plenty enough. It's gone dark green, it's gone all wilted, and then under cold water straight away to lock in that beautiful green colour. It's very delicate, and by cooking it too much, you'll lose the flavour, so just treat it like you would treat a cat. This is an incredibly important step. If you put wet stuff inside a gnocchi mix, when you boil it, it will explode and it will be ruined. So you need to wring out as much water from your garlic as possible. All right, I'm gonna let that dry a little bit more whilst we get the potatoes ready. Gnocchi is potato, egg, and flour made into these little lovely little dumplings. You need to bake your potatoes. What I've done, wetted them, then put a load of salt on the skin, prick them, and the salt will draw out some of the moisture. Because what we don't want is a lot of moisture in the gnocchi, because that will ruin it. Cut them open. I'm gonna return them to the oven just for that final little bit, just so that they get nice and dry. Just for 10 minutes or so. All right, so you wanna cut up your wild garlic into small, tiny little bits. The smaller, the finer, the better. Moisture is the enemy when it comes to making gnocchi. The last thing you want is it sticking to the work surface or just being too wet. So we'd be quite generous with the flour. It's one of those things that's hard to give exact sort of quantities to, because potatoes, the variety of potato, the size of the potato, all sort of determines how much water's in the potato. And if there's too much water, then you need more flour. And if there's not that much water in the potato, you use less flour. So you kind of have to use your intuition and your common sense a little bit with this one. Right, so this is the potato ricer. If you don't have one, like most of you probably won't, get a sieve and a spoon, does the exact same thing. We don't want the skins in them, so you can either peel the skin off or you can kind of like squeeze them out. Look at that. The thing about gnocchi is we're not really making a dough. We don't want the gluten to work, so we don't want to turn them into elastic. We want to keep them light and fluffy, which means we don't want to knead it. So you've got to be very careful. So instead of using my hands, I quite like to use a dough scraper or even the end of a spatula just to fold it in on itself. So first things first, I'm going to get the egg in. Boop, boop. I'm going to get a bit of flour in just to see. It's one of those things where you just have to add it in and add it in. A little bit of nutmeg. Now I'm just going to fold this in, bring it all together. Floured hands, floured worktop. That's the best way to go. Fold it over, squish it down. That's very important, just fold it over, squish it down. Lots of flour. Gently, 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 gently. The more you knead it, or the more you mess with it, the tougher and the more chewy the little gnocchis will be. So if you can get it to it's just come together and it's just workable, there'll be those lovely light and fluffy gnocchis. Cut it into two, or cut it into a quarter even, because you want a nice little sausage. Roll it out, try and do it gently because it's not a super strong dough. Get the back of the fork, get your thumb on it, a bit of an art, and just roll it over. And what you do is you get these lovely little ridges so that when you put it with a sauce, those ridges will just pick up all that lovely flavour. Right, they're delicate little chaps, so you've got to be quite careful. They don't take much manhandling. So get them in your salted boiling water, and when they float to the top, give them a couple of minutes more, and then they're done. Get them out, look at that. Homemade wild garlic gnocchi. If that doesn't get your taste buds tingling, then I don't know what will. You really want to get them off on a bit of parchment paper, let them cool down, let them dry off a bit. Now these are delicious. If you fry them off now, get them nice and brown in a pan full of some hot butter. You can add any sorts of flavors, herbs. The wild garlic has got such a beautiful taste. There's nothing better than going and picking something and taking it straight back to the kitchen and eating it. If there's any comments, any suggestions, any other vegetable you'd like to see us talk about, cook or prepare, then get in contact. Just get in contact and say hello anyway. Hit like, hit share, tell your friends, and stay tuned for more Weekly Veg Hacks.